Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Virtually everyone has imagined the life they want, but most people become so bogged down with daily obligations and routines that they eventually stop pursuing their dreams. In Awaken the Giant Within, life coach and self-help guru Tony Robbins provides insights and exercises to help you optimize every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your finances, and achieve your dreams by mastering your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This guide will teach you the principles and practices to transform your life and the world around you. You'll learn strategies to take control of your thoughts and emotions, kickstart your life transformation with a 7-day challenge, and learn how to apply the self-improvement skills you've learned to benefit those around you. Our commentary will compare and contrast Robbins's ideas with those of other popular self-help authors, as well as current scientific theories. This will provide you with background and a deeper understanding of the lessons in Awaken the Giant Within, as well as some additional tools for taking control of your life. Robbins is a leadership coach and business strategist who has worked with CEOs, champion athletes, popular musicians, and 4 different U.S. presidents. As a former janitor who never attended college, Robbins credits his current success to the system he lays out in Awaken the Giant Within. Know that your decisions and beliefs determine your destiny. Robbins believes that the first step in taking control of your life is understanding the power of your decisions. Many people mistakenly believe their lives are shaped by their circumstances. They go where the current takes them without making any active decisions, and this makes them feel out of control. However, your life is actually dictated by your decisions. When you decide who you are and what you want, you're committing to do anything necessary to realize that vision. To embrace your decision-making power, Robbins says you must first understand that decision-making is like a muscle that you strengthen by making frequent decisions, so take every opportunity to make decisions, big and small. Second, make your decisions wisely, but don't mull over them endlessly. If you think about them for too long, you're likely to lose your conviction. Third, learn from your successful and failed decisions. Short-form note. In Rework, David Heinemeier Hansson and Jason Fried note that the most dangerous thing you can do is fail to make a decision. They argue that making no decision is even worse than making a bad decision. If you make a bad decision, you can learn from the mistake, correct it, and make better decisions in the future. However, if you're paralyzed by fear of a bad decision and don't make a choice, or tell yourself that you'll decide later, then you'll stay stuck in your current situation. To kick off your journey of self-transformation, Robbins gives a list of 3 decisions to think about. Be conscious about how you make these 3 decisions and what impact you notice going forward, how you feel, what you do, and who you become. Decide what to focus on. What dreams do you want to achieve? What projects do you want to finish at any cost? Decide what certain things mean to you. In other words, how important they are. For example, how important is your job to you? How important is your family? Your hobbies? Decide what you'll do to produce the results you want. Start with values. What you focus on, what's meaningful to you, and what you do all have their roots in what you value. In The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***ck, Mark Manson explains that our values are what lead us to feel and behave the ways we do. Therefore, Manson argues, the key to changing your life is changing your values. Manson says that all positive values, values that lead to happiness, fulfillment, and productivity, share 3 qualities. They are based on facts, not opinions or emotions. For example, integrity is a positive value because it's rooted in concrete, knowable facts. You just have to tell the truth about those facts. On the other hand, happiness is a negative value because it's feeling-based instead of fact-based. Manson believes that happiness is a natural result of living well, not a value or a goal to pursue. They are constructive. They improve your life and the lives of those around you. For example, responsibility is a positive value because it pushes you to do the best you can in every situation. Power is a negative value because it relies on pushing others down in order to elevate yourself. They are within your control. Positive values can't rely on outside forces such as other people's opinions or actions. Both of the previous examples of positive values are things that you personally decide to do. Nobody else can force you to tell the truth or make you take charge of your own life, and, conversely, nobody can stop you from doing so. Your mind seeks pleasure and fears pain. Robbins says that the driving force behind all of your decisions, and thus your actions, is the subconscious motivation to avoid pain, including unpleasant feelings like frustration and humiliation, and seek pleasure, enjoyable feelings such as ecstasy and comfort. Robbins explains that pain and pleasure associations start in your brain. Every time you experience a positive or negative emotion, your brain links the emotion with other aspects of the experience, creating a neuroassociation. As a result, your future thoughts about that activity or subject automatically trigger the same emotion. For example, if you once got emotionally painful news while listening to a certain song, your brain will associate that song with your negative emotion. Each time you hear the song in the future, you're likely to feel emotional pain. Short-form note. While Robbins focuses on how neuroassociations impact behavior, others suggest creating and manipulating your or others' neuroassociations to improve memory, increase productivity, and make a better impression on others. Robbins says that your brain creates neuroassociations because it's looking for patterns, trying to form generalizations about which experiences are painful or pleasant. These generalizations create your beliefs about life and the world, and they are critical for learning. However, your generalized beliefs can also hold you back. For example, if your boss treats you badly, you could end up with a generalized belief that all bosses are bad people, and you may go through your career with an attitude of fear and mistrust. Thus, it's important to recognize and evaluate your neuroassociations to identify which ones are holding you back. The power of pain and pleasure. The idea that all motivation stems from pleasure and pain dates back to the Greek philosopher Epicurus. The core belief of Epicureanism is that pleasure is the ultimate good and pain is the ultimate evil, as evidenced by the fact that we naturally seek one and avoid the other. However, Epicurus also taught that you must seek pleasure in a balanced way. If you overindulge, for example, drinking too much alcohol or sleeping in too late, you'll cause yourself pain in your pursuit of pleasure. Robbins's advice about recognizing your mental associations aims at the same goal of maximizing pleasure while minimizing pain. Once you understand your mental associations, you can determine whether they're accurate, and therefore whether they're actually helping you find pleasure and avoid pain, or if they're holding you back. Create change by rewiring your brain. If some of your neuroassociations are causing you to act in ways that are not positive or empowering, change them. Robbins explains how to rewire your brain by weakening your existing neuroassociations and consciously creating new, empowering ones. Robbins suggests doing this with what he calls neuroassociative conditioning, NAC, a 6-step process through which you condition your nervous system to develop neuroassociations that support the changes you want to make. Determine exactly what you want. Also, identify the pain you've associated with making this change. For example, if you want to quit drinking, you might fear the pain of withdrawal symptoms or facing life without the aid of alcohol. Create a sense of urgency to change. What consequences will you face for not changing, and what benefits will you gain if you do change? Imagine the worst-case scenario and start associating your current situation with that pain. Continuing with the previous example, which option would be worse? Facing life sober or ending up with lifelong medical conditions from drinking? Disrupt your pattern. Every time you catch yourself slipping into your old pattern, do something dramatic and unexpected to snap out of it. The more ridiculous, the better. For example, the next time you find yourself reaching for a drink, take it outside and throw it as far away as possible. Over time, these disruptions will distort and weaken the neural pathways responsible for your old behavior. Create a positive pattern to replace the old, negative one. Your new pattern must bring you at least as much satisfaction as the old one did, or you'll relapse. For example, when you feel the urge to drink, instead go out and get yourself something nice to eat, perhaps a favorite snack or a meal you don't indulge in often. Reinforce your new pattern so that it endures long-term. To reinforce your new pattern, rehearse your new response in your mind to strengthen the neural pathways and create a reward system. In other words, in as much detail as possible, Imagine yourself going to your favorite restaurant and enjoying a decadent meal. Make sure your conditioning is successful. Imagine a scenario that would trigger your old response and see if you still react in the way you used to. For example, if there's a particular friend you used to drink with, imagine spending time with that person and see if the old urge to drink comes back. Counterpoint: NAC isn't scientifically proven. A 2001 report found that, while NAC does draw on established behavioral science and techniques, it may not be as effective as Robbins claims. The report's author, psychologist Anthony Grant, doesn't have a problem with NAC per se, but rather with the claims that the average layperson can use these techniques to make any lifestyle changes he or she wants. Grant believes that those claims are extravagant and not scientifically supported, tantamount to false advertising. Grant's report does note that NAC closely resembles clinical procedures used in behavioral therapy and psychology. However, those procedures are guided by a professional as part of an overall treatment plan for a specific condition or conditions. The report concludes that a proper scientific study of NAC is necessary to either support or disprove its effectiveness for general lifestyle changes. Alter your beliefs to change what's possible. Now that you know how to recondition your neuroassociations, the next step in Robbins's process is to identify which associations and beliefs are impeding your success, and recondition yourself to turn your disempowering beliefs and associations into empowering ones. This is critical because your beliefs dictate how you interpret your experiences, and these interpretations determine your decisions, which collectively shape your life. Robbins emphasizes making this shift with two different types of belief. Global beliefs are what you believe about yourself or about life as a whole. Global beliefs have enormous influence on your thoughts and actions, so it's important to have empowering ones. For example, believing that you're a fundamentally lucky or unlucky person is a global belief. Limiting beliefs result from oversimplifying your experiences and trying to apply them too broadly. Limiting beliefs can also become self-fulfilling prophecies. For example, you might believe that you're bad at math because you struggled with it in school, so you never try to improve, and it remains difficult. To break your limiting beliefs, use your imagination rather than your experiences. Imagine yourself working with a math tutor until you can easily do the problems that you once found impossible. Shift to a growth mindset. Altering your beliefs goes hand in hand with altering your mindset. In order to make any kind of major change, you first have to believe that change is possible. Psychologist Carol S. Dweck wrote the book Mindset to discuss her ideas about two different ways of thinking and the various beliefs that come with those mind frames. Fixed mindset. Global beliefs. People's abilities and intelligence are innate and unchangeable. Some people are more talented or more intelligent than others, and there's no way for the less talented people to overcome that deficit. People's personalities don't change much. There are good people and bad people. Limiting beliefs. You are good at certain things and bad at other things. No matter how hard you work, you'll never match someone who's naturally talented in an area that you're not. Your IQ determines your potential. Growth mindset. Global beliefs. People can continue to develop their skills and abilities throughout their lives. Hard work and good learning strategies can overcome a difference in natural talent. It's impossible to predict someone's potential based on his or her current abilities and IQ. People can learn social skills such as empathy and awareness just like any other skill. By definition, a growth mindset doesn't include any limiting beliefs. However, Dweck notes that many people have fixed mindsets for certain aspects of life and growth mindsets for other aspects, so you may still find limiting beliefs creeping into your thoughts. If you find yourself believing that the changes that Robbins talks about are impossible, you may be stuck in a fixed mindset. Control your focus. In addition to your beliefs and associations, what you choose to focus on determines how you experience life and what emotions you feel. You can think of your focus like a spotlight at a crowded concert. If the light stays on the musicians, you'll be focused on enjoying the music. If it highlights somebody acting out in the crowd, it's harder to focus on the performance, and you might feel annoyed or amused by that person's antics. Either way, the experience is different than if the spotlight had stayed focused on the performers. In this section, we'll talk about how to control your focus through the questions you ask yourself and the words you use. How language affects experience. Research reveals you can control your emotions, and thus your experiences, by controlling the language you use to describe them. Specifically, the research focuses on psychological constructionism, a theory of psychology stating that emotions are constructed from several different psychological elements. Our understanding of a concept. For example, our knowledge of what excitement is. What we perceive. For example, loud music, flashing lights, and a large crowd of people. Physical sensations. In this example, increased heart rate, explosive energy, and, in extreme cases, muscle tremors. In simple terms, this theory states that emotions are the results of us explaining our experiences to ourselves. Therefore, since language is a key part of understanding and explaining concepts, the words we use can affect what emotions we feel and how strongly we feel them. For example, a study showed that participants who had been primed with fear-related words were less likely to take risks than those who were primed with anger-related words, or who were not primed with a specific emotion. Use empowering questions to direct your thoughts. Robbins says that thinking is merely a sequence of asking and answering questions. In other words, virtually every thought you have is preceded by a question, even if it's not one you consciously asked. Therefore, the questions you ask yourself set the tone for your thought patterns. It's critical to make a habit of consciously asking yourself positive questions that lead to empowering thoughts. For example, instead of asking yourself, "What am I doing wrong?" a negative question that assumes you're making a mistake, try asking, "What do I need to do differently?" A positive question that assumes there is a solution and that you can achieve it. Short-form note. Limitless author Jim Quick explains another way to use empowering questions in his podcast Quick Brain. Intentionally ask yourself questions that prime your brain to look for answers. For example, if you ask yourself, "How can I lose weight?" your mind will naturally focus on things like healthy recipes, local gyms, and convenient at-home workout routines. Quick's point is that those things were always there, but your brain was filtering them out until you asked a question that made them relevant. He calls this type of question a dominant question. Use words to shape your experiences. Just as your questions influence your focus and thought patterns, so do your words. Robbins says that you can change your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors by changing the words you habitually use to describe feelings and experiences. 1. Use words that dull negative emotions and intensify positive ones. For example, say that you're annoyed instead of angry and thrilled instead of happy. Short-form note. As a counterpoint, some psychologists urge you to accept your emotional experiences, especially the negative ones, without trying to judge them or suppress them. They argue that trying to ignore, downplay, or eliminate negative feelings prevents you from dealing with them in a healthy way. As a result, the negative experiences become more intense and last longer. 2. When you're upset, use words that disrupt your emotional pattern. For example, replace the word frustrated with overinvested. It's a strange enough word choice that it'll distract you from your negative feelings and redirect your attention toward the thing you're actually invested in. Short-form note. Another way to disrupt your patterns is to think about upsetting events and emotions in the second person or third person. Removing the I helps you to create mental and emotional distance between yourself and what's upsetting you. It can be easier to think about things if you ask yourself, "Why do you feel that way?" or "Why is he upset about that?" 3. Expand your vocabulary to include words that accurately reflect how you feel. Having a limited vocabulary limits your ability to feel and express emotions. For example, when you say you feel fine, does this mean you are peacefully content or dejectedly resigned? Short-form note. One way to more accurately observe and describe your feelings is to consider not only what you're feeling, but how strongly you feel it. Try gauging your emotional response on a scale from 1, barely noticeable, to 10, utterly overwhelming, and consider which words you could use to describe each of those intensity levels. Interpret and learn from your emotions. Although you've learned strategies for controlling your emotions, Robbins cautions you not to overlook the fact that emotions provide feedback for your actions. Positive emotions let you know that you're doing something right, and negative emotions signal that you need to alter something. For this reason, Robbins says, negative emotions, which people often try to avoid, are actually invaluable, because they guide you to the life you want, if you know how to interpret them. For example, fear tells you that there's a problem looming and you'll need to be ready to handle it. Anger tells you that somebody's violated one of your personal values. Robbins asserts that understanding your feelings and acting on them is one way to build a happy and fulfilling life for yourself. Just remember that emotions are only feedback from your mind and body, and that you decide how to respond. The emotions don't control your actions. Understanding emotional intelligence. The ability to understand your emotions and use them effectively is called emotional intelligence. There are 4 aspects of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness. Recognizing your emotions, being able to tell them apart from each other, and understanding why you're experiencing them. Self-management. Monitoring and regulating your emotions. Social awareness. Practicing recognition and empathy for others' feelings. Relationship management. Using your emotions to connect with others more deeply and improve your interpersonal skills. There are also a number of different activities you can do to boost your emotional intelligence, ranging from cataloging your emotional strengths and weaknesses to practicing mindfulness meditation. Take the 7-Day Challenge. You've learned practical strategies to transform your life, from reconditioning your beliefs and neuroassociations to altering your habitual questions and words. Now, Robbins urges you to jumpstart your life transformation with a 7-Day Challenge. Each day for the next week, you'll tackle an assignment to begin improving a different area of your life. Short-form note: Robbins introduces this challenge as a way to begin making significant changes in your life. With this in mind, it could help you to approach this with a mindset of Kaizen, which Robin Sharma describes in The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Kaizen is a Japanese word that roughly translates to continuous improvement. It means that you understand you won't reach all your goals in a day, but you're committed to being a little better every day than you were the day before. Day 1. Master your emotional patterns. Robbins's first challenge is to change your habitual emotional patterns. The goal is to experience fewer negative emotions and spend more time in positive, empowering states. He suggests writing a list of every emotion you experience in a typical week, as well as the situations and events that trigger each one. Next, develop a plan for addressing each negative emotion and replacing it with a different, empowering emotion. The more consistently you do this, the more effectively you'll change your emotional patterns. Counterpoint: accept your emotions. It's not always possible, or even desirable, to dismiss negative emotions and try to force positive ones. In Radical Acceptance, psychologist Tara Brach says that there are 2 steps to mastering your emotions, neither of which have to do with controlling them. Recognition. Understand what you're experiencing, name it and acknowledge it. For example, if you notice that your hands are shaking and you're flooded with nervous energy, you would recognize that experience as anxiety. Compassion. Once you understand your feelings, the second step is to meet that experience with compassion. In other words, don't try to control what you're feeling or berate yourself for your emotions. Let the experience happen and then fade away. Brock says this method, which is based on Buddhist mindfulness practices, allows you to fully experience your emotions without dwelling on them. As a result, you spend less time in negative mental states. Day 2. Master your physical life. Robbins's second challenge is to make a commitment to your physical well-being so that you can enjoy your emotional health to the fullest. Assess your current level of health, make a commitment to maintain your health or improve it, if needed, and make regular exercise part of your routine. Short-form note: scientific evidence links good physical health to good mental health, which supports Robbins's Day 2 challenge. For example, regular exercise reduces the effects of anxiety and depression, while boosting your mood and self-esteem. Among other reasons, experts believe exercise improves your mood by increasing blood circulation to the brain. Day 3. Master your relationship. Robbins's third challenge is to improve your relationship with your partner. Relationships are not only essential to your well-being, but they are also powerful forces in influencing your beliefs, values, and character. Robbins urges you to maintain a healthy relationship in the following ways. 1. Talk to your partner about what each of you values most in a relationship. Short-form note. In The Subtle Art of Not Giving a**ck, Mark Manson argues that everything from your emotions to your goals ultimately stem from values. That's why mastering your relationship begins with comparing values. It helps you to understand each other much more deeply and to see where your values align and where they differ. 2. Prioritize the health of your relationship over winning arguments. 3. Brainstorm pattern disruptions that you'll both use when either or both of you become really upset. 4. When you notice yourself feeling resistance toward your partner, immediately communicate your feelings and use vocabulary that minimizes the intensity of your negative feelings. For example, using the word annoyed instead of furious, as we talked about earlier. Short-form note. The book Difficult Conversations is a guide for approaching uncomfortable, upsetting, and offensive topics in a productive way. The first and most important piece of advice is, a conversation is not a contest. In other words, don't go into the conversation assuming that you're right and your partner is wrong, or with a mindset that you have to win an argument. Instead, do whatever it takes to understand your partner's point of view. Once you understand each other, even if you don't agree, you'll be able to have a conversation instead of an argument. Day 4. Master your financial life. Financial stress causes intensely disempowering negative emotions. Robbins's next challenge is to take charge of your finances by doing the following. Make a list of your beliefs about money and evaluate whether any of them are holding you back from creating and maintaining wealth. Read books about finance so you can accurately evaluate your beliefs. Commit to investing a portion of your money. Decide how much you'll invest, at least 10% of your income, and set up a system to have that money automatically taken from your paycheck and put directly into your investments. Find a financial coach to help you create a thorough financial plan and make sure that you understand it. Short-form note. In The Total Money Makeover, Dave Ramsey similarly argues that to take control of your financial life, you must first overcome false beliefs about money. However, Ramsey argues that many obstacles are societal myths rather than individual beliefs. He also suggests that you set aside an emergency fund of at least $1,000 before taking any other step, such as investing or paying off debt. Ramsey believes a buffer against unexpected expenses is a crucial first step toward financial security and peace of mind. Finally, he doesn't specifically suggest getting a financial advisor, but he does emphasize the importance of educating yourself about finances. Day 5. Master your behavior. Robbins's fifth challenge is to create a personal code of conduct that ensures you live by your values every single day. Because acting in line with your values creates positive emotions, Robbins suggests you start by writing a list of 7 to 10 emotional states you want to experience every day. Next, write some guidelines for each emotional state. How do you reach it? How do you know when you have? Short-form note. Robbins suggests that the 7 to 10 emotional states you choose should align with your values, but doesn't specify how many values should be covered. In Dare to Lead, Brené Brown advises you to choose only 2 core values. She argues that having too many values renders them meaningless. If you're having trouble narrowing down the values that are most important to you, Brown suggests starting with a list of 10 and whittling it down. Day 6. Master your time. Depending upon what you're doing and the frame of mind you're in, time can seemingly pass too quickly or drag on forever. However, Robbins says you can learn to control your perception of time and work it to your advantage. He offers 2 strategies. 1. Practice switching your focus to the past, present, or future. Focusing too much on one time frame puts you in a disempowered state, while exercising this muscle gives you control. Short-form note. There's a common belief that focusing too much on the past leads to depression, while focusing too much on the future leads to anxiety. The given solution is usually to be present. However, Robbins is arguing that focusing too much on the present causes its own problems, such as an inability to learn from past mistakes or plan for the future. Therefore, the key is to take a broad view of time that encompasses past, present, and future, and limit the time you spend dwelling on any one of those. 2. Create a to-do list of tasks that will have the most meaningful impact on your life, like the exercises in this book, rather than those that are merely urgent, like returning phone calls. Focusing on what's important instead of what's urgent will help you escape the feeling that there's never enough time. Make the most of your time with the Eisenhower Matrix. Former U.S. President Dwight Eisenhower created the Eisenhower Matrix as a method to prioritize items on your to-do list and determine how to approach each task. The matrix is divided into 4 quadrants. Important and urgent. Do it. You should do tasks that are both significant and time-sensitive as soon as possible, or at the required time. Examples include treating a serious injury or going to a doctor's appointment. Important but not urgent. Schedule it. Something that you need to do, but don't need to do right now, should be written into your schedule so that you make sure to get to it in a timely manner. Examples include planning for the future, working out, and making time for rest and recreation. Robbins's exercises and challenges fall into this category. Urgent but not important. Delegate it. The ideal way to handle tasks that are time-sensitive but not important to you is to get someone else to do them, preferably someone to whom they are important. Another way of thinking about this quadrant is time-sensitive tasks that don't need you, specifically, to do them. Examples include running errands and attending some meetings. Neither important nor urgent. Ignore it. Something that's not important and not time-sensitive is, by definition, something that you can safely ignore. Examples include mindlessly scrolling social media, answering unimportant phone calls, and playing video games. Day 7. Rest. After working diligently all week, it's time to rest and enjoy yourself. Robbins offers 2 options for this final challenge. Make and execute a plan to do something fun. Do something spontaneous that brings you joy. Rest is as important as work. Psychologists are coming to understand the importance of rest, recreation, and leisure time. Far from being a waste of time, recreation actually improves your health and your mood. Studies have linked recreational activities with decreased stress, anxiety, and depression, and with increased overall well-being. Furthermore, viewing leisure activities as pointless or a waste of time makes those activities ineffective. In short, to maintain your health, you have to allow yourself to indulge in things you enjoy. Refusing to do so, or begrudging yourself the time you spend on them, causes your mental and physical health to suffer. Change yourself, then change the world. You now know that you have the power to make individual decisions that improve your life. However, Robbins says, you also have the power to participate in the joint decisions that people make collectively as communities, societies, nations, and the world. These joint decisions, ranging from how we take care of our neighborhoods to how we tackle climate change, will determine whether we collectively succumb to or overcome the problems we face. Hold yourself, your community, our society, and our world to a higher standard. Stop thinking that chronic problems such as hunger and homelessness are permanent and inevitable. Instead, recognize that these problems all stem from people's values and their choices. To solve these problems, Robbins urges us to use and teach the lessons in this book to help people identify their values and make choices that will be better for everyone. Use interdependence and synergy to solve big problems. Stephen Covey's self-help book First Things First recommends creating the best outcomes for everybody by developing a mindset of interdependence and synergy. Covey asserts that all of our lives are connected, and that by depending on one another, we create synergy, effective cooperation. For example, think about how many people's work goes into a simple ear of corn that you buy at the grocery store. The farmer who grew it, the driver who transported it, and the employee who put it on display, just to name a few. The cooperation of these people makes it possible to buy corn cheaply and conveniently. Their efforts synergize with one another to create favorable outcomes for everybody involved. Much better than if each of us had to grow our own corn independently. Robbins's system is about mastering yourself and overcoming your own problems, but he encourages us to also use this information for the greater good, and interdependence and synergy aids that notion.